Welcome to Digital Asset News. Take a top stories in crypto and bring it out of bite-sized pieces. Today, what I want to talk about is I want to bring everybody down a little bit of a street as to where we are right now and where we are going as far as the metaverse and NFTs. And to help me do that, I got a special guest. Dave, Digital Dave, Crazy for Cryptos, is back on the show to help us save this bull run. Dave, let's do it again.
Let's do it. That's our job. That's our mission on this planet.
Yeah. So if you don't know, Dave he's got his own YouTube channel. There's a link in the description. Crazy for Crypto. He's got a website. He's got a bunch of great information. Dave was one of those guys who I found very early and introduced me to THETA. And I think there's some interesting things going on with THETA that we're going to talk about today. First of all, Dave, tell us why you thought THETA was going to be so big. Because when he first talked about it, I'm like, I don't understand what he's talking about. But now I get it. But tell us how you found out.
Well, there's some deep roots about how I found out, which I've talked about previously. Actually, maybe I'll talk about that real quick. Yeah, I'll talk about it. I don't mind that at all. So there was, what's his name? I forgot his name now. Crypto Crow. I haven't heard about Crypto Crow in a long time, actually. I guess he's a big time YouTuber still, I believe. But Crypto Crow talked about this coin called THETA. It's like, it's crypto called THETA. I said, well, that's what's really interesting about sharing video, like content delivery, whatever, because the future is going to be all video. It's already 80%, or it's going to be 80% all video. I said, this looks really cool. And then this is where it gets really weird, is that there's a YouTuber called JSnip4 had a psychic on there named Michelle White Dove, and she said that THETA is going to be huge, it's going to be thousands of dollars. And now this is kind of weird stuff for a lot of people. Now, when she said that, I didn't know who she was. I said, you know what? I think it just feels right. It feels right. So Crypto Crow planted the seed. Michelle White Dove and Jay Snip gets credit for kind of bringing it to my attention again, and kind of aped in on it and bought a bunch of THETA. And then after I aped in on it, I said, I really started to dig into it. I said, actually, I think this THETA thing is really going to be big, because like I said, we're going to be, most of the content that's internet it's 80% at least going to be video. Now, Rob, we've got the metaverse thing going on, which has been the buzzword for the last few months. And the metaverse is basically, it's the whole universe that you kind of live in, and maybe they're all going to connect at one point. I don't know, but what's going to power that metaverse? It's going to be THETA, because these are the edge nodes that basically everybody that's going to be mining THETA or T-Fuel, actually mining T-Fuel, they're going to be sharing their bandwidth. So anybody that has unused bandwidth can share it with their neighbor, and they get rewarded in T-Fuel.
Right. And see, to me, it only made sense because I saw that there's only so much data centers that you can buy up, only so many warehouses you can get. You got to compete. First of all, you got to compete with Amazon, all the different things that they're buying up too. But when you have to get a data center to house your servers so you can run these streams, this HD, this 4K, and all the different streams that they have, it's very difficult, very expensive. Why wouldn't you just pay somebody their extra bandwidth, use THETA? And even Steve Chen, co-founder of YouTube, goes, yeah, I'm in on this as well. So it makes sense to me. And that's why we're trying to bring you guys down this street. I did a video about a week or so ago, and I talked about buying land in the sandbox metaverse for some pretty big gains. And when you take a look at what's going on there, you have to understand that everything that we do is still going to require bandwidth. So if we have something like with THETA, maybe that could power it. But that's not the only part. And then we're going to get into the THETA drop in a little bit. So Dave, what do you think about so far as like, will THETA power some parts of it?
I think THETA is going to be the backbone to the whole metaverse. I mean, people say, Dave, tell me what's your metaverse project? What do you like? Do you like sand? Do you like mana? Do you like, whatever, right? And what's the hot one? I'm like, I'm a basic foundation infrastructure backbone kind of guy. I like to buy the infrastructure. And if you want to buy into the metaverse, buy THETA and T-Fuel. This is the backbone. This is the infrastructure that's going to move everything around. Okay. If you want to buy others, sand and mana and these other cryptos, that's fine too, or virtual land. I just think that THETA is going to be, I think it's undervalued at $6, $7, I guess about $6. But this is like what I've said before too, Rob. I said this a long time ago. This is before metaverse was like the big buzzword. It's all about sharing like the 4K video 8K video, VR, everything, VR, AR, et cetera. We're going to need all this. We're going to need all this bandwidth to move it around, to share it, for it to work. And then this whole metaverse came out. I was like, well, this is actually THETA. I think THETA is going to be the whole backbone to the whole thing, because how else are we going to be able to share all this bandwidth without using, bouncing information, videos, et cetera, from one computer to another? The only way to do it is for everybody to, not everybody, but for thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, probably eventually millions of people, to be running a node on their computer, so they have their own little data center right in front of them.
Yeah, I mean, it only makes sense to me because it's going to be a pretty heavy load. So now we're going to get into real quick about some of the criteria for the metaverse part. But today we're going to talk about NFTs, and as far as it relates to what's going to be called a pineapple drop as far as THETA. So me and Dave, we've got a different strategy to take a look at NFTs. And when we take a look at this real quick, this is my criteria. And I'm just going on the cheap end, I'll be honest with you. But I see, like, for NFTs, people just see the NFT as just some goofy artwork, and that's all they see. But if you look at it behind it, like, what is the utility? What does it do for you? How can you get in and actually make even more? So when I take a look at NFTs, I say, well, first of all, what's the community? Does it have more than 1,000 people? That's the minimum, I think. Is it great? More than 10,000? Danger, I said 25,000. That's only for if you're on the Discord groups, because sometimes you have a bunch of bots. But if you take a look at community as far as like real projects, we'll just take THETA, for example, hundreds of thousands, right? The utility, the next thing I think about is, what does this NFT do? Because if it just looks cool, that doesn't do anything for us, right? What's the launch pad? What's the rewards? The gamification? Is it a casino? Does it give us special access and minting and things like that? And then lastly, this is where me and Dave differ, floor price. I'm trying to find the low end, and Dave, I think, is trying to find the blue chips. So Dave, real quick, how do we differ here as far as finding these NFTs?
I'm going to be honest with you, Rob. I think your strategy is probably better than mine. And your strategy actually goes along with a lot of people that try to maximize their NFT value. They try to buy, when they try to buy the mint price, or when it first gets launched on OpenSea, they buy it at so your criteria is about 0.2 ETH or 0.02 ETH actually. And I think that's a better strategy than what I've done. But I'm just, we all have different goals. When I started learning about this NFT, I've talked about it in my last YouTube video, and I know there's hundreds of projects out there, and I don't want to just focus, but my knowledge about NFTs, I'll admit, it's just I'm in the infancy part of it about NFTs. I know how to buy. I've got many hours about NFTs, but I just know this project, I think it's going to do really well, continue to do. It's a project called Doodles, and the creators behind Doodles did the crypto kitties, so they know something about NFTs. So when I first talked about Doodles in my private Patreon group, they were, this shows the floor price of 3.678 ETH. We'll just say for dollar term, there was $5,600 at the floor price just a week ago, Rob. Now there's 16, I guess, I'm not able to do the math real quick, but $17,000, I guess, a week later. So this is almost a 3X. We'll call it 2.5X just in a week. And probably because, I did the video about it and I told the group about it as well. But I really think if I didn't talk about it either, or if I never talked about it, I still think the Doodles has a chance of being what we call blue chip, or what people call a blue chip. Meaning this is like the board. It could be the Bored Ape Yacht Club. That's a blue chip, or CryptoPunks is probably the OG of blue chips, right? I think, CryptoPunks have been around for a long time. I think it is the OG, but yeah, there's potential for Doodles to be at that, $100,000 maybe. If it's $15,000, $16,000 now in a year or two, why wouldn't it be 100K for that? Not financial advice. It all depends on the roadmap and the founders, if they're going to be up and up, continue to be up and up people, then whatever. So there's many factors, but I like your strategy better. If to maximize value, Rob, to maximize value, I think you have a better strategy, to be honest with you.
It's okay, but I think if you're trying to go to the next level, I think your type of strategy is like, I want to find these blue chips. If it's going to cost me $15,000, I'm going to get in. Look, I just bought virtual land for around that price at the Sandbox. I could go to another place and get something cheaper, but I think that this is like And it might be a better play. It might be a faster play. If you want to go on the low end, you can do that. It just might take a little bit longer. That's all really it comes down to. So that leads us to our next point, which if we're going to talk about NFTs, because again, when people take a look at doodles, they're like, it's a goofy little drawing. Why is it worth $20,000 or whatever else it is? You have to understand about the utility that it gives you and then what it gives you access to. There was a great story about ETH rocks, where people were buying Ethereum rocks, which was just a picture of a JPEG for $100,000. What does that give you? Well, think of it like the golden ticket to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Once you get into this private club, because if it's you and other people who have $100,000 to throw around on JPEGs, they probably have a lot more money. They probably have more insights and more background information. So you're getting privy to all this information that nobody is allowed to. I kind of feel like these expensive NFTs are like the country clubs of yesteryear, where all the rich people got together and go, you know what you should do, Pete? You should get into this project because it's going to be $1 million or whatever else it is. So extrapolating that and moving forward, that's why we're talking today about Secret Pineapple Society for THETA. So Dave, I didn't know about this until we got on the call. Tell us about what the heck this is going on with Secret Pineapple Society and what the utility is.
I wish I knew what was going on with this. I just had a feeling. I'm on Twitter a lot. I think you're on Twitter a lot too. I know you are.
Yeah,
we're both on Twitter a lot. There's so much research to be found on Twitter. That's why I'm on Twitter a lot. I learn a lot. I mean, there's people out there way smarter than I am, and if I can pluck some knowledge out of some of these people, get some ideas or whatever, then I can get a little bit smarter each time I get on there. I saw, speaking of THETA, Mitch Liu, the THETA CEO, had the Secret Pineapple Society, we'll call it SBS, as his profile pic. I said, okay, this guy's really believes in it. And I kind of had a feeling to it. So seemed like there's something special about this. So what I did is I tweeted about this THETA drop, which happened 6 days ago, approximately 5-6 days ago. And I tweeted about it. I never talked to anybody. I didn't talk to the THETA team. I didn't talk to the SBS people, the developers. And I just said, hey, might want to pick those up. I said, I had a good feeling. In my tweet, I said, I have a good feeling about it. Okay. Later on, they reached out to me. They sent me a message through Twitter. Said, hey, would you, well, I don't know if I can talk about this yet.
Don't get in trouble, Dave. Don't get in trouble, but just
no, I want to let THETA do the reveal. But what they said is that, would you like for us to give away 3 pineapples to your Patreon group? It's a group of, it's a pretty large group. I said, yeah, that's fine. And so they're doing a drawing for the pineapples. So they're going to give away some of those pineapples. But I said, is there any information that you can share about what this actually does, what the utility is? So they gave me a list of things that you can go and share this now within your Patreon group, which I did. And this pineapple thing is kind of what you're talking about, the ETH rocks. It's kind of like maybe it gets you in these like little exclusive clubs. You're going to rub elbows and network and whatever. But it seems like there's more than that, because this is something we pulled up earlier about their roadmap, and it looks like they got some things going on here.
Right. So just like what they told you, they put it out as well. Commercial use of your pineapple. I think we talked about this. There was CAA. American artists, the ones that have like the majority of the sports stars and the A-list celebrities, they actually signed a deal with a person on Twitter who owns a ton of NFTs for the commercial use of their NFTs in movies and series and things like that. So when you have this pineapple drop, you can use it whatever commercial or thing that you want to, if you so happen to have that. Surprise airdrops, members only streams, members only apparel store. I think this was the most interesting to me as far as phase 3. Voting on future benefits, like a DAO, entry to the Grove, whatever the heck that is, NFT staking for yield farming. I think that's pretty big as far as like what's going to happen with THETA, and then game integrations. Maybe that's a play to earn type of play. So I think when you take all these things, there's your utility, and that kind of hits my criteria. Community is huge. I mean, if we take a look at like THETA TV, I mean, they've got like World Poker Series and things like that. It's a huge community. And then of course, I mean, they got the utilities there. The floor price is a little bit high for me. And before I get ahead of myself, Dave, talk to us about the floor price.
Okay, so what happened is about 6 days ago, they launched 888 of the 88 pineapples. So they launched about 10% initially, and people tried to get in and they tried to buy it, and nobody could buy it because that 888 pieces sold in like seconds or minutes, $200 each. But now they're selling at we'll call it $2,000 for clean math. Just under $2,000 is the floor price right now. Yeah, 1949. Now here's something we need to keep in mind. There's a few things we need to keep in mind. So in about a day or so, they're going to release the other 7,800 SPS pineapples. They're holding 200 for promotions and whatnot. But so there's 7,800 that's going to be released. And we'll call it 90% of the supply is going to be released in a couple of days. I think the floor price is definitely going to drop initially, but it might go up again. Who knows? But Rob, I'm going to go down as the first person in history to have a price prediction for NFTs. Let's just go ahead and save this video. We can save it, put it in the archives, put it on the blockchain. It'll be around for 100 years. As David is the first person to give a price prediction for NFT. So I think the NFTs, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here. I think this SPS NFTs will probably be worth about $5,000 as a floor price in about a year from now. And this is based on, we already got a $2,000 floor price just a week later. There's going to be a 90% supply that's going to be dropped. So that's going to depress the price a little bit. But I think if this SPS, if it picks up, if the media picks it up, let's say like CoinDesk, if the mainstream picks it up, it's going to go crazy. But I think I think there's going to be people talking about it, and I think it's going to be hard to get. So yeah, so the floor price is $2,000 right now. It's going to change a little bit. It'll probably be a little bit less than that in a couple of days. But here's something interesting though. The highest price, somebody's already bought one for $25,000, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, let's take a look here. Where do I see price low to high?
Yeah, toggle that.
Let's go. They go high to low. It doesn't matter. Let me just go down here. 3,000, 15,000. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. The last time I checked, the highest price was $25,000. Then another one sold for $24,800. So I think that's pretty cool. It doesn't, it doesn't predict the future about where the price is going to go. I just have a feeling that that a $200 investment could pan out in a year. You could be worth $5,000. But let me just say this too, Rob, is that let's say if somebody bought one for $200, let's say worst case scenario, whatever, who knows where it's going to go. Let's say if it only, quote unquote, only goes to $1,000 in a year, that 5X is not too bad. So
yeah. So there you go, folks. There's two different ways to look at things. There's my strategy, which is kind of like go a little bit lower. Dave's strategy, which is go a little bit higher. But I think in the end, if you just take a look at the criteria and you understand that NFTs aren't just some goofy little things, they're really kind of like your early access to the bigger things coming. And I think the bigger the company and the more they have already been established, I think the better off you'll be as far as blockchain goes. Now, if Facebook comes out with NFTs, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. I'm just saying, like, if you get into like a THETA, a little bit better, it's a better chances than if you got some other type of project, which is like, I don't really know that one. And that's just how I see things. But that's what we got. Yeah.
And let me just add, Rob, I think you had a really, really good, excellent observation about the ETH rocks again, about making that kind of your like a country club, kind of like a VIP pass where you're rubbing shoulders, rubbing elbows with people that, obviously have wealth. If they're spending 100K or whatever it is on those rocks or Bored Ape Yacht Club, you are going to be, the networking is always the key thing. I used to go to these marketing seminars when I was in my 20s and 30s. I would go to these marketing seminars and I would get some good information from these seminars, but the real value was the networking, during the breaks, before the meetings, right, before the seminar, after the lunches, the dinners. That was the real value. And maybe these NFTs, I never thought about that. These NFTs are like, it's like a networking kind of thing. So maybe the SPS is going to be like the new hot networking kind of VIP secret society kind of thing. And by the way, I just want to say I wasn't asked nor paid to talk about any of these NFTs or none of the stuff. We're not paid to do that. So we're just releasing content and talk about stuff that we kind of know about.
Yeah. And just watch me and Dave's channel. We talk about a plethora of different products that are out there. Some do great. Some aren't going to do so great. It just depends. Remember, NFTs is really, to me, I think of it like ICO 2.0, where a lot are going to go to zero. But in all honesty, there's some real gems out there, and we're just trying to find the ones that could be. So, Dave, that we've said it all, I think, today. But any last words of wisdom for the new investors out there?
For NFTs or what? I mean,
in general, just in general, not. Yeah.
Let me just do this. Actually, I want to talk about NFTs again, because let me just kind of give a little backstory too. So in my group, there's some people that are they don't want to hear about it, and they like, focus on blockchain, which NFTs is blockchain. Focus on crypto. Okay, it's a little bit different. This is such a groundbreaking thing that's going to be around. A decade from now, everybody's going to be have possession of an NFT of some sort. So I believe that if you want to get started in NFT investing, go to THETADrop.com. Just figure out how to buy an NFT on there. It can be like a $5 or $10 NFT, doesn't matter. Just get your feet wet and buy an NFT on THETADrop, or go to OpenSea.io and learn how to set up a MetaMask browser extension. And just play around with it. Buy the cheapest NFT on there and just buy one. Once you buy your first NFT, you're gonna have so much confidence about it. You're gonna get your feet wet, and you're gonna be all, you're probably gonna add to your collection after that. But once the key is to buy one, and then once you do that, you've got that experience. So that's my tips for that.
Makes sense. All right, so that's it for today. I know it's a little bit long what we talked about, but great information. So if you found value in today's video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, give it a like, consider subscribing. Check out Dave's channel and his Patreon. We'll link that in the description below. And that is it. So thanks for stopping by. Me and Dave will see you on the next one.